Hello, 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 people. Y'all already know what time it is. It is a still table, and when that happens, there's no intro, there's no music. It's just myself and Kenyon live in the building, man. We will say hello to some of the early commenters, and we'll get right to it because y'all know Tuesday nights, having to commute tomorrow. Y'all know I gotta stick to a script. But we're gonna try to give at least an hour. If it's less than that, then cool. But no more than that. And as you guys can see, phone number is on the screen. I know I got to keep saying that for some people who haven't been here before. That's normally for Tuesday night, but obviously since myself and Kenyon are here, we're not going to do the phone calls because he can't hear your phone calls. Maybe we'll figure out how to get that working at some point. But Blog Talk has not been good to Kenyon. But anyway, man, what's going on, folks? Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday, special episode, which is the Still Table. We're basically just going to give our reflections and thoughts on the season so far, maybe an outlook. Kenyon will drop a few nuggets as far as some of the key guys to look out for. And I'll answer the question. Hopefully you guys will answer the question that's in the chat. In the title. We're currently the third pick in the draft. Where will we finish? That's kind of what the conversation is going to be about. So really quick, let's just say what's up to Joshua Shields, BQ 412, Brent Fox 412, born and raised. That must be still a person there, obviously. Ron Simpson Gaming, Jared Devil, Jim Edmond, Carolina Larry 24, Rajon 39, Donovan Hubbard, Sippy Boy 302, Rail Facts. Hello, Lanisha. Miss Lanisha in the building. Make sure you guys say hello to the lovely ladies. As most of y'all know, Lanisha is one of them, so make sure you give her a proper hello. Who else we got? Really quick. Steeler Cards, Vista Lights. Who else? I think I said everybody else that I see. My man Y Diggy's in the building. Hello, Odessa, another one, guys. Make sure y'all say hello to our lovely ladies in the chat. So as of now, that is Lanisha, that is Odessa. If I missed anybody, I do apologize. But chat, y'all back me up if y'all see any of our other special ladies in the chat. But let's jump right to it. Jack Bauer, that's the last one. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Still Slim. That's the last one. All right, man. Let's get right to it. Let's talk about our off topic real quick before we get into our business. I'm going to ask the chat and I'm going to ask Kenyon. Would there be any benefit? This is a two-part question, actually, because for one, Kenyon, I don't think it's going to happen. For two, if it were to happen, it's going to be in the off season. But would there be any benefit for the Steelers to pursue Frank Reich as the offensive coordinator? I'm seeing this all over the place. You and myself and Tony kind of chopped it up in the chat, and then Kenyon so graciously showed the statistics that he has currently. And like Kenyon said, that we're pretty much right about there as far as the numbers. Is there any evidence out there? And again, I don't know. I don't always keep up with who are coordinators. I think he was a coordinator or a QB coach in Philly when they won the Super Bowl, yeah. I think.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't have any real evidence that supports it. But how do you feel about that move? Is it even worth it? Should it be done? Do you even think it would be done?
I personally, I don't really see the upgrade. I guess if you want to have somebody to mentor Pickett, that's great. But it doesn't solve the issues. You don't know what type of offense he would actually bring. I know they like to run the ball, but they're not overly heavily a run team. And he's not somebody that we have to. He's not somebody I would covet. It's just if it happened, it happened. Depending on what happens at the end of the season with Canada. So you never know. I'm not gonna say never, but I'm not actively, wanting it to happen. That's the best way I can put it. It makes me no difference either way because he hasn't. This year has shown me a lot about Indianapolis, and it's really a 2-year thing that I've kind of watched him, You know what I mean? Their offense in a lot of ways. So they're good. The Matt Ryan situation didn't work out. So, and I just think the Colts, once they finished Matt Ryan, they basically were telling you that we're drafting a quarterback in 23, and that's it. I mean, I feel bad for Frank Reich, but it's that HBO Hard Knocks curse, man. Like, you get on that show, man, at any point. You know what I mean? The Colts were mid-season last year.
Yeah.
The Detroit Lions was the season this year. The Arizona Cardinals about to be mid-season this year. I'm just saying, man, they're undefeated. That's the best way I can put it. Yeah. That's why I don't want us to lose a lot, because I don't ever want to be on Hard Knocks. So it's just, it's one of those things. So I don't have any say. I feel neither way which way it would go. So for me, I don't care. And it's not a big upgrade. I'm not going to get excited for it. So if you look at the numbers, we're right there. Where it's the 32 and 31. That's where it's at. So
that's the thing, man. I laugh sometimes at Steeler Nation as a whole, because we have recency bias, but then we lose recency bias, I guess, when it's convenient. And what I mean by that is, what have the Colts done? And from people were saying that he'd been calling the plays as, what evidence does he show this year? And I'm not beating Frank right up about that. I'm just saying, what evidence has he shown that would make you say, oh, no, we got to go get him. Let's get him right now and replace Matt Canada? Like I said, he was either the QB coach or the OC at Philly when they won. Great. He obviously has a decent resume. And the funny thing is, he doesn't even have a losing record as a whole with the Colts. They just haven't, different organizations, they fire quick. It is what it is. But all I'm saying, and not to rehash what Kenya said, but he said exactly what I was thinking. I don't know myself personally the evidence that tells me we need to go get him, because the way people are saying it, y'all are saying it as if the Steelers are going to fire Matt Canada tonight and bring in Frank. That's not happening. So my question to you guys in the chat who want him, are y'all saying pursue him in the offseason? Because that's the only way it's going to happen. Hate it or love it, Tomlin has already said, and again, sometimes they say stuff and change their mind, but he's already said they won't make it any changes. We're coming off the bye. So at this point, everyone who's there is there. Unless the Rooney family, for whatever reason, the Steelers lose another game or two and they decide they want to make a statement, that's the only way I see any changes happening at this point. So, I don't know.
And also that if Canada was going to be fired, he got fired in the bye week.
Yeah.
Because it would have given him enough time to install the new guy and let him have enough, time to implement what he wants to implement, which probably would have been Mike Sullivan, who's the currently quarterback coach. So that's what would have happened. So to me, I think Canada is here to the end of the year. Tomlin might make a decision. They might make a decision to replace him at the end of the year, but they're going to ride it out for the rest of this year and see what happens. And, it is what it is. To constantly complain about Matt Canada at this point, it's kind of fruitless. And I just think that, you can place blame on him. He's supposed to take the fall. He's the OC, but, there are other parts to this machine that aren't doing their job. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And all you got to do is watch the game. Sim sends me stuff, and he even opens my eyes to even more stuff that you may forget when you're watching the game live. And it's not all Canada. That's all I can say. It's not all Canada. That's all I can say.
We about to go down that road, so we might as well get right to it. Before we do it, some of the comments, again, I love people's comments and opinions, but sometimes I highlight them because it's like, I feel like sometimes we reach. My man Dakuda said, Tomlin will not hire a coach that could be a replacement for him. We still talking about Frank Reich? I guess I get what you're saying. Are we still talking about Frank because how does that add up? My man Tyrone Johnson says better not pass on Stroud or Young. 2023 Pickett, not that dude. Hey man, listen, I can't sit here and tell you that they wouldn't, but I just don't think you guys should get those type of expectations up in your mind when it comes to the Steelers. I don't see that happening. If it did, let me go on record and say right now, I'm not going to be upset. That'd be actually kind of cool. Now, I would be a little pissed off in the fact that, oh, okay, so that was your plan the whole time to go quarterback? And honestly, as I talk about it out loud, they didn't have to reach for Pickett. They stayed put. So if they did that, I'm not going to complain. You give me a Bryce Young or Stroud, I'm not going to complain and let them battle it out. But all I'm saying is I wouldn't use that Tyrone as a they better not dog. In all likelihood, that's not going to happen. It'll be a surprise if that happens. You understand what I'm saying? So I wouldn't, you know what I mean?
I mean, you could, I love that you're always so PC. Look, I don't care. I don't want Bryce Young. I don't want CJ Stroud. If I was going to get a quarterback, if I'm going to do that, I'll wait till next year. I can go get Caleb Williams at USC. Who's better? I can get that kid. If it's that serious to me, I can just get that kid. So it's I think they believe in Kenny. I think that there are as Sim said, we're going down that road. There are flaws on the team that are obvious that will hamper you from becoming better. And it's reminding me of David Carr, not Derek Carr, but David Carr. If you remember David Carr, his brother, who was the number 1 pick, and they never gave him an offensive line. He got beat up a lot. And he never really developed because he got beat up so much that he was punch drunk by the time he got to, whatever year he was. So, but yeah, I mean, I like Bryce Young. Sim will tell you, I told him about Bryce Young in high school. I told him about Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. They're from out here. They're LA products. Bryce Young is a stud. Me and Sim were watching the game the other day, and we were saying stuff. Love Bryce Young, but if you think Bryce Young with that offensive line can survive in the NFL, I have a house to sell you with no doors and no garage that you may be interested in, because I'm telling you, he can't run around without an offensive line. He's too little. He's very little. You have to have maximum protection. So if you're saying that, you're saying draft a quarterback, now you got to get offensive line to protect him. There are holes on the offensive line. So the way I look at it is you can't get that in free agency. You have to. It has to be a combination of both.
Yeah, you got to draft.
So and CJ Stroud, love him to death, but I tell people there's flaws in this game also. He's not a runner, per se. So the quarterbacks in this class, while I think it's a great class, if I was going to do that, I would just wait and I can get Caleb Williams. And if you want to do it like that, lose next year and get Caleb Williams, and then Caleb Williams, he looks like a young Patrick Mahomes. That's what he looks like. And that's a frightening thing. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't. And I love Bryce Young. Don't get me wrong. And Tim will tell you, I've been talking about Bryce Young and CJ Stroud and, the kid out of LSU that's from LA too. All those kids, I've seen them play. But I'm just saying, no.
Yeah, man. I see Kev So Fun said, Ryan Clark says we need to draft a QB.
Nah.
Listen, everybody's opinion is their opinion. I mean, Ryan Clark played in the NFL for our Steelers. Is a champion. Mm-hmm. I like Ryan Clark a lot. I like what they do on the pivot. I think he does a great job on TV as a commentator. I don't agree with that. Simply because I'm not sitting here advocating for Kenny, because we about to go down the Kenny road. And let me just start it off by saying Kenny desperately will need to improve some things. That's not me saying that he's not good. Listen, he is a rookie. This is the stuff that I worried about once Ben Roethlisberger, and whether you like Ben or not in his latter years, we all know he wasn't playing his greatest. But this is what I was always concerned about. Y'all remember a couple years ago, I was like, man, when we have to get another QB, You might not get Patrick Mahomes that
Right.
comes in his second year lighting it up. That don't happen all the time. You more than likely get a Josh Allen who struggles first year. Sometimes you mess around and get what's the other Josh? Was it Rosen?
Oh, Josh Rosen. Right. Josh Rosen.
You
Yeah.
might get that. Or sometimes you might end up getting Jared Goff, who actually is playing decent this year, finally.
Or Jalen Hurts,
Or,
who most people didn't, you know what I mean? Who, if you really think about it, didn't really play well his first 2 to 3 years. And it all comes down to, as Sim will say, it all comes down to the parts that you put around the player. Patrick Mahomes, and I just really believe this, that Andy Reid put him in a situation where he couldn't fail.
Yeah.
What I mean is that he gave him O-linemen, he gave him weapons. He turned over the team to Patrick Mahomes at the right time, and it's just it was like a great situation to be in. I guess similar to what happened with Aaron Rodgers when he took over for
Brett
Favre. It's hard to do that. Sim is exactly right. It is so hard to say, well, let's draft this quarterback in anticipation for our franchise quarterback leaving or retiring. It's so hard to do it, and you don't strike. I mean, what Green Bay did, that's remarkable. That just doesn't happen. It doesn't flow like that normally. And so it's kind of one of those things where you can look at quarterbacks and you can get excited about watching them play, and quarterback is the most important position on the field, but it's those other pieces, and you have to look at it like looking at somebody like a Bryce Young, who, once again, he's very elusive, but if you don't have an offensive line in the NFL, and you want him to run around like that and do all that stuff, and he weighs $180, 5'10", not thick like Russell, not thick like Kyler Murray, not as fast as Kyler Murray. Just saying, man, be careful what you wish for.
And this is funny too. Shout outs to I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Ep.129. He says, "Would you choose Pickett if the 22 draft happened again?" And the funny thing is, for most of y'all that remember, myself, Kenyon, Debbie, or Destiny, none of us were choosing Kenny Pickett. Do y'all remember who we hoped they would pick just because of upside? Malik Willis.
Yep.
Who has also struggled. Part has been him, and the other part has been, no time. Or some of these receivers not catching the ball. Like, he made an incredible throw the other night that got dropped, but he also has some rookie stuff with him if you really watch him, holding the ball too long, trying to make things happen. This is a part of the maturation. So I'm not one who says, "Oh man, if I could do it all over again." It just is what it is. No one ever knows. No one knew that Russell Wilson was going to be who he was being drafted in the 3rd round. He turned out and balled out. Did you know? I didn't even really know who Dak Prescott was.
Right.
And he did a phenomenal job in his rookie year.
Right.
You never know. And what I'm saying about Kenny, so let's get to Kenny real quick. Kenny has, and I thought it was just Mitch Trubisky. I'm starting to think, and Kenyon mentioned this too in a text, I wonder if some of this is by design. Sometimes they seem to focus on one side of the field and they don't process through the progressions. Now, Kenny has done a better job, because I even showed it in the footage for those of you who saw the All 22, there are moments when you can see him reading clearly 1, 2, 3. He's reading it. But then there's other times where he forces a lot of his passes. Do you guys remember the play when Freiermuth was in the middle of the field and there was like literally 3 Eagles around him? You could have said 4, but a legit 3 Eagles, and the ball was thrown high. I showed in the footage, showed it to Kenyon and Tony. Deontay Johnson flashes right across his face. And I'm telling y'all now, Deontay had at least 15 yards in front of him. Possibly a score. If you hit him in stride, he's going to run to the outside. Pickens is right there to pick up the block. And he's the whole time he's looking at Freiermuth. Kenny has a little bit of that in him. Kenny also has, like I said before, he tends to force things. Remember that comeback route that he threw to Deontay Johnson that almost got picked by Slay. Gave Kenny a little bit of pass on that one because maybe he thought Deontay was going to break outside a little further, but it's moments like that. The interception, y'all remember when he tried to throw to Freiermuth in whichever game that was we were playing, and Freiermuth had to go up high and he threw that pick late in the game. It's a lot of that stuff creeping up with Kenny I'm starting to see. I'm going to go on record and say the last couple games, Matt Canada's route combinations haven't been horrible. Now, Matt Canada still is not my favorite when it comes to situational football, but I can honestly say, even though I would rather see Matt Canada maybe go, fresh start, I can honestly say it's not all him. Some of it is Kenny, but it's because he's a rookie. He has happy feet back there sometimes, but we've seen him make some great throws. We've seen him throw in anticipation at times, but these are the things that he's going to have to develop. I do think that he does have it, though. Like Kenyon, some people, they don't like him. It is what it is. Have your opinion. But I've seen Kenny Pickett show flashes of where he can be good. Will he ever be an elite quarterback? I can't call that yet. We'll see. But I hate to use the comparison, but again, we all just saw in real time the last few years ago when Josh Allen was a rookie. He didn't look great. Look at him now. So there's room, That's all I'm saying. Is like I don't know how some of you guys can make your assessment just like that. I mean, if you can do it like that, then you're phenomenal. You should be a scout somewhere or something, talent acquisition position or something. I can't tell that quick. I need to see this dude play another season, consecutive games where he's just horrible, 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 horrible. Then I can make my assessment. I can't do it after. How many games has he started so far? 5? 4 or 5?
4, 5.
And again, maybe some of you will actually be right because y'all didn't like him from the jump. That's fine. It's not about pointing the finger here. I'm not a professional, so I can only go off of what my opinion is, and then I let that prove me right or wrong. So, but yeah, man, Kenny got a lot of work to do, man. He does, guys. I'm telling you, go watch the film. If you have an opportunity, go watch the All-22. There's a lot of times. Oh, let's not forget about the George Pickens one. Same series.
Right.
You guys remember when George Pickens got called for pass interference on the push-off, right? Even though, as I looked at the film, A.J. Brown pushed off Terrell Edmonds on that first touchdown. I ain't call that. But anyway, throws it to George Pickens. He comes down with the catch. They say it's P.I. A play or two after that, Pickens again is in one-on-one. Pickens gets past Bradbury, got at least 2 to 3 steps on him. Kenny throws it back shoulder instead of putting it out in front of him. See, those things like that. It's like, I understand in theory why you thought back shoulder because if it's tight coverage, but you got to see that. I mean, Pickens, right off the line, he is past. I mean, if you put that thing in the air. So it's those things, man, that Kenny doesn't quite do consistently yet that I will acknowledge, and I will say it's not completely on Matt Canada. It's not completely on the offensive line. So we'll see.
What are we talking about here, man? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Sam? Like, what are we talking about here? He's a rookie.
He's a rookie.
What are we talking about here? He's a rookie. He is a rookie. I want you to understand that he is a rookie.
Yep.
He's not, you don't walk in and just play. Look, there's only one rookie I've ever seen that's walked into the NFL as a rookie and was great. And that was Dan Marino. That's the only one I've ever seen that walked into the league and was automatically good. Like day one. Not Patrick Mahomes. It was Marino. Marino started day one and he dominated. You know what I mean? He was killing day one. You know what I'm saying? So that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things where Kenny's progressions I'm glad Sim points all this out, and I'm glad he sends me these videos sometimes because it's things that I see, and sometimes I kind of want to tell him, but I'm glad he has an all 22. He can watch it, and it's just progression stuff. And I do believe there are times when they call plays and they just want Kenny to look at one side of the field. And if you want me to put in any more context, they did that with Ben.
They sure did. Yeah.
They did it with Ben, where he would just look at one side of the field and would just focus on that. So Kenny goes through his progressions. He's going to have ups and downs. It's called growing pains. You learn from those situations. It makes you better. Does he have the moxie? Does he have the makeup to be good? Yes. You can see it when you watch him. The players like him. The offensive line, the offense listens to him. He has command of the huddle. All these things. And I will say this, I don't think Mr. Trubisky, he never gave me the confidence that when I watched him in the game, like, oh my God, he's gonna do this. I never felt like that with him. You know what I mean? Yeah. I never felt that with Mason Rudolph. So we're coming from a franchise quarterback to a rookie quarterback who they've identified as being good. And as Sim said, they didn't have to move. We didn't have to move up to get him. He fell right. He slotted right where he wanted to, where we needed to. Now you have to put the stuff around him and try to help him. And I guess the more disappointing thing for me is the progression of the offensive line and the regression of certain players and the up and downness of certain players on the offensive line. And that can hurt a young quarterback. And I don't have that same. I'm with Sim. I need 2.5 years to know what he is.
Yeah.
And once I see that, I tell you all the time, I give people 3 years. 3 years, I kind of know what you are. So it's kind of like you get the sense with him. So for me, I'm cool on Kenny. I'm not losing my mind on Kenny.
Nope.
I'm rolling with him. I'm in the car with him. We chilling, and we can see how far this can go. And it's really more of a positive thing. So when he has these moments where he struggles, I don't get upset. I mean, I guess the fan in you, because you want to win, you get upset. But if I got upset after every interception, then I would be pissed all the time when Ben was playing. Because,
yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm just saying that's how I would feel. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like one of those things where sometimes you have to look at the big picture, as Sim and I always tell you. We never look at the game. We never micro it like that, where it's just one singular thing with one player. It's always like the bigger picture. Because if I don't look at the big picture, then I'm feeling me, and I'm not looking at it like they may be looking at it. You know what I mean? So Kenny's gonna be all right. We have to have patience with him. And if you had this same attitude when you say he don't got it, as I always use Troy as my example, you would be saying Troy Polamalu could not play for Pittsburgh. You should cut him. That's bad. Exactly. He was bad as a rookie.
I'm talking about was bad.
Bad. I mean, they were bad players. They weren't good.
Ryan Shazier wasn't great his first year.
Ryan Shazier wasn't great. Come on, man. It's like you can't pick. You know, it's almost like you forget that. You forget that they weren't good at some point. As Sim uses accurate, Josh Allen was not good. They said he could. They said he wasn't accurate when he came out. They said he wasn't accurate. They said he could never become an accurate quarterback. Yep. Look at him now. Might be the most unstoppable weapon in the league with the ball. So it's the word that I know you don't want to hear, but you have to have patience. You have your wide view has to be bigger than game to game or series to series or play to play. And it is what it is, man. You know, the greatest players of all time make turnovers. The greatest. There's always flaws. There's always flaws in players. So I'm cool on Kenny.
Yeah, y'all too fast, man. I'm just gonna say that globally, as Steelers fans. One that we might have all got right last year was Kendrick Green. Yep. I think it was clear for us to see after about 7 games. But I mean, we're talking about an NFL quarterback, man. That again, name the quarterbacks that from day one lit it up. There are a handful of them, but it doesn't happen. Even a guy like Lamar Jackson, even where Lamar's strong suit, his run game, that has gotten better.
Yes.
He is a better quarterback all the way around now. He can even pass better. it takes time. Like I said, it doesn't happen that easy with most quarterbacks. Even our beloved Ben Roethlisberger, he wasn't outstanding his rookie year because he had a running game and a defense. And then Ben just became Ben. He made plays, but he had a lot of help. Kenny picked right now. Do y'all realize we have no running game? Like
Zero.
And Kenny is not Mahomes, who threw the ball 60-something times the other night, which is ridiculous. It's just, I don't know. I just think y'all are too fast, man, as fans. Again, I'm not trying to, chump your opinion. I'm just saying, if that's the way you think, guess what? Y'all ain't going to be happy with a lot of players. Y'all ain't even going to be happy with the next coach whenever that happens. Because y'all ready to get rid of people after 7 games. Oh, right. He sucks. Oh, he can't coach. Oh. So the day that comes when Mike Tomlin is no longer there, y'all going to be ready to fire that coach after 3 games if he loses. Because you want everything to happen like this.
Right. Microwave. Like, it has to be fast. It has to be now. It has to go like, it just doesn't work like that. It's just kind of like,
work like that.
I don't know if people, Nick, I guess for people that think like that, that's how some owners think. As a matter of fact, you have examples of this. Jim Irsay just fired Frank Reich.
Yeah.
The Washington owner will fire you in a second. You know why? You know why those franchises are never successful? Because they're always turning the franchise over. They never believe in anybody to cultivate a culture and build a program. They're results based. They want to say, well, if I hire you, you have to go 11-0. You have to go 12. That's how they think. So they can never cultivate winning. They don't understand that concept. So they keep breaking the wheel, trying to change everything, and they get the same result. So it's almost like you have to have stability. To me, is the greatest thing you can have as an organization, because if you have that, you can that can sustain you through the good and the bad times. When you're driving a car, the road is not always going to be smooth. You're going to hit bumps in the road. It's just that's the analogy I would always use. It doesn't go like this. It goes like this. Yeah. That's how it works. So within that process, you have to watch certain things, and sometimes you could, as Sim said, we knew about Kendrick Green. You kind of can see it. There are certain players you can see it, but there are certain players you just don't. You can see the potential. And then some guys have potential and they never reach it. I'll give you an example. When you start with Rashard Mendenhall, I used to say, oh, that dude's going to be good. But then he never really reached his potential. And that was a big thing. And the same problems that he had, they kept popping up. And you could tell he really didn't love football or something like that. You could see it, at a certain point. And so those things are important things when you're watching your team. And I get it. You're frustrated. If you're a younger Steelers fan, you kind of only really know winning. Them winning. But as Sim said before we even got on here, I've experienced the bad times. So when you talk to me about the Steelers, I always say, well, I know what it's like. I know what it's like, Bill Cowher having 3 losing seasons. I know what it's like for Chuck Noll to go 5-11. Like, I understand I was there. I saw it. I felt it. So the pain that you think you're feeling now, it ain't the pain that I felt. 5-11 is 5-11. So you can spend it any way you want to spend it. 5-11 is 5-11. And I think this team is better than that team that went 5-11. And I remember that team. That was the end of Chuck Noll's run. That's the end of Chuck Noll's run. So we just have to have patience in this situation. And Sim knows this better than anybody. He just knows it better. That's how I look at it. We're going to look at it that way. So, but we're all human.
Time, man. I think he's going to be fine. And listen, if in 2 years from now we're wrong, so what? Like, that's the thing. None of us have the crystal ball.
Right.
I just see something in him. Okay, so is he a better athlete than Malik? Probably not. But Kenny is a dog, man. Kenny is a dog. I don't know if y'all are paying attention to that. That dude got something. It's attitude, and I think he can play. Yeah. The dude was a winner in college. Let's not gloss over that. In college and NFL, 2 totally different things. But what I'm saying, he's a competitor. He has the moxie. He's a dog. And the funny thing is his competitiveness is the reason why he forces a lot. Because you can kind of feel it when you watch the game. Those times when we almost
Right.
came back, he thinks he can make it happen, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. But I think he'll be able to put it all together. I think he's gonna be fine, man. And all that stuff that I said that he needs work on, he does need work on, no question.
But he can improve on that.
But he can improve on it.
But who else had that trait, Sim?
Big Ben. Big Ben trusted that arm. So,
to a fault.
Yeah.
To a fault. So, just saying, I think Kenny, and in the Malik Willis case, it's funny because Sim and I were watching that game, and if you watch the game, Tennessee had a running game, so it made Malik look better.
Yep.
They didn't remember they lost the game when they started stopping Derek. Then the game changed because he had to make throws on third down and make throws on, he had to make those throws. And he wasn't going through his progression. So that's how Kansas City caught up and passed him. But if the running game would have kept going, we'd have been talking about Malik Willis like he was the next coming of Michael Vick. You know what I mean? And he wasn't. You know what I mean? I was like, no, once they shut that down, that was it. So they're rookies. That's the thing about being a rookie, man. Being a rookie.
Kenny got an it factor. I'm calling it. He has it. I see it.
Yep.
We just got to see it develop. And again, some of y'all would have drafted another quarterback after Josh Allen had a bad season, his rookie year. That's what it sounded like.
Yep.
Be patient. We ain't got nothing but time, man. I mean, listen, most teams go through this. I just told y'all on one of these Tuesdays, the Ravens were 5-11 not too long ago. It happens. It happens to a lot of teams. Look at what the Rams going through right now. They're not playing well. The Bucks ain't playing. I mean, it's just, y'all know y'all not used to it as Steelers fans. I get it. But honestly, I'm cool with it, especially if we ain't going nowhere anyway. I don't mind being in the top 10. And speaking of which, man, as I look at the time, man, we already been on 30-something minutes. We can switch gears right to that, man, because that's really the meat of the show. I definitely would throw it to Kenyon because I know a lot of you guys appreciate when y'all can hear Kenyon as opposed to just reading his text. First of all, man, how do you feel like brief reflections on the season so far, and where do you think this thing goes? Like, how do we finish? Right now, we're slated to have, well, according to the NFL.com, we are 30th, I think. Yeah, we're 30th in the standings, so I'm assuming that's the third pick.
Yeah.
How does this thing finish, man? Do we end in the top 10? Is there any light at the end of this tunnel? And just your brief reflections, man, on the season so far.
You're disappointed in our season so far, but I'm not discouraged or angry or nothing like that. I kind of prepared for this post-Ben. I prepared for this already. I kind of knew we'd have a season that we'd dip. It's just part of the deal. When you lose somebody like that, I believe that as far as the rest of the season goes, these 9 games, they're important games. I mean, if TJ coming back, KG coming back, it changes the dynamic of the team.
Yeah,
and it changes the defense automatically. And if we can get anything out of our latest acquisition, William Jackson can play well and do stuff that Ahkello Witherspoon couldn't, and I just believe we won't see Ahkello Witherspoon again for the rest of the season if William Jackson plays well. I think he's fallen in the depth chart, and whether it's his hamstring or just him giving up plays, I think that it could be an interesting second half of the season, and they're winnable games, people. And I don't think we'll be a top. Do I think we can make the top 10? Outside shot. Do I think we'll finish there? Probably not. Probably finish maybe between 10 and 15, maybe. I think there's winnable games. I think they can be – I think it might be Tomlin's first losing season, but I think they'd be something like – they can be like 8-9. They can be – you know what I'm saying? They could have a season like that, and I think I'd be cool with it. And having the top 5 pick is nice, and we'll get into certain people that Sim and I have watched and people I've watched, but that's how I feel about the season in general. I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I just want to see progression. As Sim says, I just want to see the progression of the team. I'm disappointed in some certain parts of the defense. Not disappointed in Minka. Just wish he would. There are certain plays he left on field. I agree with Minka.
Yeah.
Not disappointed with Bush. Bush hasn't played bad this year. I just have to be
Yeah.
honest. He hasn't.
Yeah.
I think Terrell Edmonds is probably the second best player on the defense so far this year. He's really only missed one assignment that I've seen. He's played well. He's been very, very solid. There's a lot of players you left on the field, a lot of interceptions. I mean, there's a lot of what ifs. And I don't like playing that game. Dolphins game, we dropped 4 interceptions. That could have changed that whole game. And so it's one of those things for me where I'm looking at it like, let's see what these next 9 play out. And if we get TJ back and we can keep him on the field, and Casey, I think Casey will be a big help for us. We can win some games, people. I mean, I think we can beat New Orleans. I think we can beat, I think we got a shot against Cincinnati. If this is the same defense, if you can get TJ back, TJ disrupts everything. One player can disrupt everything, and he's that guy. So
makes your coverage a whole lot better.
It sure does, because you ain't got to blitz. You can just rush those forward and be all right. So, and it would just take pressure off Highsmith, who I think has made a jump this year. But the problem is that you need TJ.
Yeah.
Because you get one-on-one with Highsmith, and Highsmith can do more damage that way. So as far as my midseason report, I give them a C-, because I think the offensive line has been the most disappointing thing I've seen. And it's becoming down this subject. I guess I'm not angry at Dan Moore, but kind of bothers me his up and down. This is the way he plays. I would say I'm disappointed in Dotson.
Daniels
has been up and down. Chooks has been solid, but everybody gets beat. So I can't expect
Cole.
Cole's been he's been the most steady. Yeah. So he's been the one I can't say anything. So I would say that, and I think the moves we made have been nice. The Claypool thing. I have a question for you. This is for you. Knowing what you know now, and when we re-signed Deontay Johnson, and he wanted a new contract, and they got a second-round pick for Claypool, would you have traded Deontay Johnson and not give him that contract? And just look at the big picture. If you got a second for Claypool, what would you get for Deontay Johnson?
That's a good question. Let me just throw a round of applause really quick for the 2 donations, and I'm going to answer that question. We got one earlier from Carmichael. I'll just read what they said, and then I'll hit the round of applause. He said, Canada still has 1 more year. Keep in mind. I didn't know that. I thought his contract expired this year. That is...
No, he got 1 more.
That is a very good keep in mind. Yep. You're right about that. And Andre Romero says, I just hate seeing Kenny get killed back there. I'm with you on that. Let's throw the round of applause for both of you with the donation. And, of course, my round of applause is not up. It's so weird. It shows me that it's working. But then when I push the button, it's telling me that the software isn't up. So hold on 1 second. Like it stays down on my toolbar, and then all of a sudden it disappears when I hit the button. There you go. Round of applause. So thank you for the donations. I'm going to answer Kenyan's question. Man. Ooh, that's a loaded question, but I'm going to answer it as if I was sitting in that seat.
Right.
Knowing that you got a second for Claypool, I would say yes, but just off of this principle. The question would be Deontay being in his final year of his contract. It's a low contract. So you might have been able to find somebody who think they have a winner. And if we trade him that early before the season starts, they feel like it's a rental for a year. Yeah, because it sounds like you might have been able to get a first. And the reason why I would have been comfortable doing it, even though, again, this proves to y'all that I don't have an alliance with players. There are some players that are always going to be special to me I want him to retire as Steelers. But there's other players I can respect who they like. Le'Veon. I respect who
Yeah.
Le'Veon was when he was with us. He left. All right, see you later. It's a lot of players like that. Deontay hasn't fell into my love that guy category.
Right.
He's not
Right.
Cam Hayward.
Right.
He's not Troy P. He's not Hines. He's not those dudes. He's not Ben.
Not been right.
So yeah, I would if I could get a first. And the reason why I would feel comfortable with that is this kid that we drafted named George Pickens, who is an ex-receiver. I would have no problem with moving him out there since he seems to take on these one-on-ones anyway. The route running would have went down a little bit. We would have struggled a little bit in terms of overall route running in our receiver core without Deontay. But
Agreed.
I would take that chance with Claypool, with, you hope Austin wouldn't have got hurt, but let's just say with Austin, with Sims, with some of these other guys. I would have done it. If I thought I could get a first for Deontay, yes, I sure would have done that
Right.
at that moment. Because again, you got to start thinking, and I'm going to give Omar Khan credit, man. He's thinking more in the now times instead of the old school times. Like, you got to
Right.
start thinking,
Right.
how do we compete going forward?
Right.
Almost
right.
doing the Bill Belichick type of thing. Let's get rid of this guy while he still has value. So, yeah.
doing the Philly thing. If you really think about it, he's kind of doing what Philly's doing. If you look what the Eagles are doing, I mean, do people know that the Philadelphia Eagles have a top 10 pick right now, a top 5 pick,
Oh, wow.
and they have the best record in the NFL? They have a top 5 pick because of the trades they made last year.
Wow.
So they'll be good this year, and they'll be able to add a piece for next year. So that's just, that's why I thought about that. I thought about that because I was thinking about Philly, and I said, well, I get rid of Deontay. And I'm with Sim. I have no loyalty to any players like that. And I like Deontay. I love how he plays, but it's the value thing for me. Now I can say, do I need him? Is he helping me win? And if I draft George Pickens in my straight, if I draft Calvin Austin in my straight, if I have Steven Sims in my straight, if I have Claypool in my straight, I do believe Claypool never fit, which is especially when Canada came. He didn't fit in the offense.
Yeah.
And I think Claypool's shortcomings or the shortcomings that Sim and I saw when we watched him on tape, we had the same type of overall projection of him. We told people, I think that's why we were so high on Pittman compared to Claypool, because we knew Pittman can run routes. Pittman can run routes that Claypool can't. You know what I mean? His feet are great. So those things are big things. I think people don't realize that. Some people look at just somebody running past somebody and going down the field. It's like, no, it's that quickness. If you can get off, it's the thing that Deontay has. He gets the most separation out of any receivers in the league because it's his feet. Deontay Johnson doesn't have long speed. But that little space where you're trying to cover him, he can get away from you with no problem.
Easy.
So easy. It's easy work. So, kind of similar, kind of like what AB had. So AB was just more, he was just better. He was more elite. So I asked that question thinking ahead in what Omar Khan is starting to do with these trades. He's doing the kind of, not the exact opposite of Colby, he's kind of following the same blueprints, but he's making his moves are more, I might make this move. So I just wanted your feedback on it. I was very interested in that because I was thinking about that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I knew I could get a first.
Yeah.
If it's a second, nah, I would have stuck with the trade we did.
What about multiple picks? Okay, you got a 2 for Claypool. Deontay Johnson is better than Claypool.
Yeah, so you might have been able to get multiple.
What if they gave you a 2, a 4, and a 7, 2, 4, and a 6? Do you take that deal? Because I would take that deal.
Yeah.
If I could have a bad team second round pick, a 4th and a 6 or a 7.
Yeah, you might take it. But yeah, I mean, if what we heard is true, you might have got a first for Deontay.
Yeah.
Because they talked like the Packers and the Bears was like
All
competing
in.
and they drove it
Right.
up. So yeah, I would do it. I would. Because Deontay Johnson, again, much like Claypool, is in that prime spot where there's talent there, there's value there. You get rid of him now. Yeah, I would have done it. if I knew what we know now. Yep, I sure would. Carmichael, man, round of applause. There's another donation. He says people are sleeping on Steven Sims. I think Steven Sims could be what we wanted Ray to be in the slot. Get him the ball quick and see what he can create. I think we might see some of that from him because clearly he has ball skills and, after he catches the ball, like he can make some things happen. It's more than just that to play the slot, though. I kind of remember him when he was with Washington, but I honestly can't give you an evaluation on him now. But I do think he could, in this offense, I think Steven Sims will give us something. He might actually give us more than Claypool because we might be able to run a different route tree in the slot that Claypool didn't run. So I'm cool with where we at right now. We'll see what happens with William Jackson. So I'll just give you my quick thoughts on the future. Just like Kenyon said, I'm very disappointed with the season for multiple reasons, man. I'll state two of the most obvious ones. The injuries. TJ going down, KZ going down. I mean, the cornerback position, like how many games have we had when we had the would-be starters at outside and nickel? It's been a revolving door all season, man. We haven't been able to see. And here we go. We got another piece in Jackson now. See, it's like that's a huge disappointment. Highsmith is playing great, but what would he have been with TJ alongside him? Like we might have had an opportunity to see two dominant edge rushers where they may have been saying, man, that's still his defense. How are you going to contend with TJ? And then you got Highsmith playing out of his mind on that side. What are these offensive lines going to do? And like Kenyon said, pressure one person. Adding one more piece back in there makes your coverage that much tighter. Make the ball get out a lot quicker. And if the ball's coming out quick, maybe you could play up tighter. I mean, I hate to say that one person is the reason why you're losing. It's not. But you add a little more pass rush. Imagine if we had some real pass rush against the Jets. A real pass rush against New England.
Yeah.
Buffalo probably just was going to give us the blues. Let's face it. They probably was still going to beat us. A better pass rush against Cleveland. You see what I mean? We got pass rush. We lost it late in the game, but look at what was happening when we were able to rush the passer against the Bucs early in that game.
That's true. Yeah.
So if you have TJ out there, at least to be able to create a 3-man rotation where we can keep legs fresh, you never know. You never know what it could be right now. You know what I mean? So, looking at the future, I do think a Tomlin-led Steelers team is stubborn enough to win. Where are we at? We're 2-6. I told Leonard, father, shout out, what's up, Leonard? I see you came in, father-in-law Leonard. I told him that, honestly, I'm not thinking the season is completely over until mathematically we get to 9 losses.
That's me.
If we get to 9, then, yeah.
Yep.
But let's just say they don't get a winning season. This Steelers team, led by Mike Tomlin, is stubborn enough to go 8-9.
Yep.
That probably takes us outside of the top 10. See?
Yep. And that's what I said. I'm with them. They're not going to quit. So the theory that they're not doing that. You know what I mean? Because TJ wouldn't come back. TJ would just sit out. If it was, you know what I mean? They feel like they got a shot. So they
don't trade for Jackson either. You don't.
You don't make those moves unless you really trying to do what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
I think I'm with them. I just think that it's until they're eliminated, which actually can lead us to our next discussion, which is pre-draft and all that other stuff, and why I don't talk about the draft like that, And I know people in the chat get all hyped or get excited, and the Fairweathers want us to tank. Yeah, I said Fairweathers. And as I said, as I always tell people as a history lesson, tanking never works. It's never created anything for any team, no dynasty. Sim knows this better than
76ers.
Sim knows this better than anybody else with the Philadelphia 76ers. When the
Oh
owner
gosh.
told you we're losing to win,
Oh.
and it still has not worked. So it's one of those things where you have to just play it out. And the Steelers, I will give the Steelers this: they have a great history of being able to get people that fit their system that fall to them wherever they're drafting at. So as far as the draft goes, as I told Sam, I won't take it seriously, but until we're out and I'll know what we're drafting at, and then at that moment I can formulate a plan of the players I have. I do tell people tell people in the chat about certain players to watch out for. Sim and I Saturday watched this kid out of Northwestern named Peter Skorowski that plays left tackle, left guard. And Sim watched him, and I watched him. I was watching the game. I texted Sim. Sim started watching, and we were just sitting there going, "Oh, this dude right here is the one. He's the real deal." And what's so funny about last weekend is we watched a couple of players. So we watched him, then we watched the Georgia Tennessee game that had multiple players, and Jalen Carter. Look, Jalen Carter is.
Oh my god. Oh my
You
god.
know,
Man.
would I want to have Jalen Carter? Yes. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. If I had to rank the players I saw, Jalen Carter is a top 5 pick, so you have to be in top 5 to get Jalen. Look, Peter Skorowski, you have to have a top 5 pick, because if you watch him play, he was locking up Ohio State's both of their pass rushers. I'm talking about these guys are like NFL guys. He was locking. They were doing nothing with him. It's the reason why Northwestern was in the game, because of him, because he was just opening up holes. And if the quarterback from Northwestern was good, they could have upset Ohio State. if he was good, he just wasn't good.
Yeah,
that
game was close.
It was close to the fourth. So if you watch the game, so to me, I look at it like I would tell you guys in the chat. This Peter Skorowski out of Northwestern is, and there were 3 offensive there were 2 tackles in that game. Him and the offensive Ohio State left tackle that everybody talks about they covets. He played well, but Peter just stuck out. He just, when you watched him, it was like, this guy right here, he's just like, he would immediately, if you drafted him, he would immediately take, because they said he can't play, he's too short to play left tackle, but he can play guard. And when you watch him, I said, oh, he would immediately take Dotson's spot. And Sim knows, me and Sim said, automatically, day one starter. So there's certain people we're looking at. To talk about people now at this early makes no sense, because we don't know exactly where we're going to be picking at. I would say needs that we've seen in this little 6-game span are a pass rusher, inside linebacker, left tackle, corner, left guard, right guard. I don't know if I will mess with Mason Cole. I think I like him.
I'm chilling. Did he sign a multi-year?
I think it's 2.
Yeah, Mason Cole has earned his way back next year, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay.
He's been solid enough to where I don't think you bust your gun on that position unless that guy is there.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, it's funny that we say that. Did y'all notice that Landon Dickerson is playing guard for Philly and doing a good job?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. We all talk about the centers that we passed up on and all that stuff, but yeah. And I don't know why I didn't realize that, knowing that they weren't going to move Kelsey. So, yeah, so unless the guy is, the dog that you must have at center is there, I'd let Mason Cole man that. But like Kenyon said, man, it's clear. Left tackle position is up in the air. Dan Moore just hasn't progressed from last year when he looked like he was going to progress. Even though he's still a young guy, but remember, last year he put on tape, oh, maybe he's a little better than the 4th-round pick.
Yeah.
This year, not so much.
Not so much.
Dotson, Daniels, so any of those positions, and like Kenya said, corner, I don't know if they go, I wonder, do they go pass rusher early?
Nah, I'm thinking. If you look at our draft as of today, 1 first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, and I think the second-round picks are like, I think it's 2 picks. It's like we pick, and then there's 2 picks, and then we pick again. So I guess the question would be, do you address corner in the second? And let's just play devil's advocate. Let's just say you don't get somebody like a Jalen Carter who's an automatic, he's a lotto stud walking in. You don't get somebody like that. I mean, would I like Jalen Carter? Yes, he would be my long-term replacement for Cam. Yeah. He would be the guy that takes over for Cam. He's a monster. You can't block him. As I said last year, he was the best player on that Georgia defense last year. And if you watch the game Saturday, me and Sim were texting each other, and we were like, he's just blowing up. Like, Tennessee couldn't do anything. He was blowing up their plays. Yeah. Like, it became laughable at some point. Like, they couldn't do what they wanted to do. And Tennessee has talent. So they were number 1 at the time. So it's kind of like, if you can get somebody like that, fine. If we're blessed to be in that position, snatch him up. Also watch Will Anderson later with Alabama. Watch him. He's a monster. And you can just imagine him and TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith as your 3 linebacker rotation. And I would be saying hallelujah draft day. But those are the guys, those are the blue chip guys. But as Sim said, you have to start looking down the line. And I think corner is a position you have to address. Even if you keep William. Say for instance William plays well and he's there again, you still have to address that position because there's no depth. There's no guy, no lotto, no stud that can get. And can you get Joey Porter Jr. in a second? Will he fall? You know what I mean? So all these things matter. It's so early, but that's just the outward speculation that you see with certain players. What about safety? Do they re-sign? Do they give Terrell Edmonds another contract? See, all these things matter when you start talking about this because he's on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you resign him? Has he earned another contract? Let's see.
No.
Wow. That was fast.
Not yet. I mean, it's more football left, but
that was fast. He was like, no.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Do you address the safety position? I mean, part of it's going to be free agency, and part of it's going to be
hold on. Who did you ask about? Let me make sure I answered that correctly.
Yeah, Terrell Edmonds.
Oh, I was thinking. I don't know why.
What do you think? What do you think about?
My mind was still, for some reason, I was reading a comment, and my mind was on Daniels. Oh, Edmonds? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd bring him back.
All right.
Edmonds actually has been solid this year. Everybody's going to remember, and again, I outlined it in my All-22 breakdown, how he just let A.J. Brown run right past him. But Terrell Edmonds has actually been one of the more solid pieces on the defense this year. Right. Some of y'all might not agree with that, and that just lets me know that we all see the game differently. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's just we watch it differently. Terrell Edmonds has not been horrible.
No.
So yeah, I what's funny, there's talk out there saying, would you bring Bush back? And I just want to prepare people that these things could happen because Bush and Edmonds probably don't have high markets. Yeah. Edmonds found that out last year. So
I guess
don't be surprised.
I guess do you draft on the inside line? Well, if you say for instance you bring Bush back.
We need somebody.
Do you still? What about your boy? That's not playing.
Yeah,
that's on the bench.
That's what I was gonna say. Is he gonna end up like a Buddy Johnson, where he's not even a buddy? I won't do that to Buddy because even though he is the same, is he gonna end up like UG3, where you draft? Well, we didn't draft UG. Oh, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Late.
Yeah,
he was a late
fifth round. Round.
Is he gonna end up like one of those where he's a UDFA, but is Mark Robinson going to get a shot at any point? Is he going to show something next year? And I don't know. I almost feel like they have to draft one because What do they do with Spillane? Is this a? I think he's on a contract year.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Spillane, Robinson, Bush. Hmm. Do you draft somebody else? I mean, I guess here's the question: in that scenario, do you draft somebody high? Because if you draft somebody high, then that basically tells you that Bush not playing.
Oh my God, we got so many needs, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's what, like, when you say, like, to me, this is how I look at it. The inside linebacker position is not as bad as getting that third rusher.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, you need that third guy. You need another guy as a rotational piece that can, have starter potential, or, you know what I'm saying? You need that guy. You need that guy
Yeah.
to do that.
I'm gonna
You
say
understand what I'm saying?
something that's some of y'all are gonna say it's blasphemy, but I'm gonna agree with Kenyon on that. If I was in a position right now where they tell me, do you draft the inside linebacker or do you get bona fide third edge rusher and keep the core inside backers you have today, I think I'm gonna go with that option. And I know some of y'all hate Bush and all that, but seriously, today I would take a legit third pass rusher that offers real snaps and keep Bush and Miles Jack. Y'all know I like Miles Jack and Spillane versus draft, because I haven't been watching the inside backers that tough in college, so forgive me if I don't know who the prospects are, but I would say as opposed to drafting that position early, unless it's a stud, it might be, but to me,
Right.
has the inside backers played that bad overall? I don't think they've been horrible. So
All right.
I'd prefer to have, another solidified edge rusher because we're clearly seeing it, man, without TJ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bless Malik Reed's heart, man, but he's just not. He's not. He hasn't offered much, and nobody
And
else.
he, and he played good last week.
Yep.
What was it? Malik Reed did play good last week.
He did.
But
He
I just
played
think
good.
he's not and maybe he's just getting into the system. Maybe he feels more comfortable in the system and he's playing better. But as Sim says, the inside linebackers this year in this draft, there was somebody I used to tell you guys about. I still think I would do it if his values there. Is Noah Sewell out of Oregon. He's a stud.
Oh yeah.
He's a legit guy. But if you draft him, you don't re-sign Bush. I'm just telling you right now. You draft him, you're not re-signing Bush. There's the Alabama linebacker Henry Tutu. He's another one. He really flashed a lot Saturday.
Yeah, he was.
He's another guy that I could consider them drafting, because he can cover, and if you can do both, that's like perfect, and whatever. So, he's another one I would say. Those two guys. There's a kid out of Washington State that I really like a lot. I've got to see play a lot. And so I'm pretty sure there's more as I dig deeper, but those are the three that I've seen. But I don't know I do agree with if Bush, I guess you have to prepare. But I mean,
he might be back, guys.
It's the outside. It's that third rusher. It's kind of like obvious when you're watching games. It's like You need that guy, man. It's you asking Highsmith to do too much. Malik, in another way, I might keep Malik Reed to have 4, and you know what I'm saying, so I can spell them. But as of today, yeah, I mean, as we get closer, I have a whole list, but as we get closer to the draft, I'll be able to narrow it down. But so far, yeah, but cornerback.
Jalen Hyatt. That's the receiver.
That's the receiver.
Right?
That's the receiver. That's the guy I told you, like Mike Wallace. But he's not. He's all right. He's good. He's a good player.
He is, but my man Jay Underrated said keep an eye on him. The thing is, where do y'all think he's drafted? And the reason why I say that, I don't expect the Steelers. In my opinion, they're not going receiver in the top 3 this year.
Right.
I don't see that.
Right.
Don't see
that. No, the better receiver prospect would be the kid out of Boston College, Zay Flowers, who's like a slot, and you can probably get him in the third or the fourth.
Yeah.
That's the better guy. I think he's dynamic with the ball. He's kind of like I would say, if I compare him, kind of like Steven Sims, but Mike, like a better version. But it all depends on if Calvin Austin comes back healthy. Because if you think about it, it's like a redshirt year. So he's kind of like, and they might just get a big receiver. I mean, if Deontay's there, they're going to draft a receiver. It just depends on what they do. I agree with Sim. I don't know in that top three.
Man, some of y'all's comments, man. Oh man, we already passed an hour, so we'll go ahead and get to wrapping up here a little bit, guys. But listen, y'all know I respect everybody's opinion, but Tyrone, I don't. You said might as well trade Watt. He gonna miss 7 games a season and be injured all the time. And then you said he's a beast. The Steelers need picks. Okay. Based on your theory there, that's your opinion. But where I'm lost is, where's the evidence that TJ Watt is going to be hurt all the time and miss 7 games a season? If I'm not mistaken, TJ has been very durable. So that's why you see sometimes, guys, when I look at the opinions and I'm kind of like, well, what's that based in? I mean, I know an opinion is an opinion, but what are you basing that logic off of? I don't see it. I mean, we talk about a dude who, in my opinion, broke the record last year. They should have that play on Huntley, that should have counted as a sack.
As a sack, yeah.
But yeah, okay. Oh, somebody said I missed the donation. I did. Andre Romero, round of applause. He says he'd be happy if we just knocked Baltimore or Cincinnati down a seed. That could happen too, man. I don't know. The way I see this, like I said, at this point, I'm just watching the team to see what they're going to be, how these young players are going to develop, and have a better understanding of where I feel we need to address going into the draft. And that's it. Anything else is a bonus. Some people are saying, oh, the Steelers might go on a run. Yeah, they might, but I'm not expecting that. Let that be a bonus. I'm expecting them to compete. They'll win a few more games at best. Well, I'm not going to say that. They could win more. But I'm saying it's likely that they're going to win a few more games. To me, it's not likely that they're going to get to the playoffs because I think the hole that we've dug ourselves in, we really going to have to scrap. Can it be done? Sure. Could the Steelers go? Let's do the math. They're 2-6. No more than 8 losses. Well, let's say 7. No, 8.
So work the math out.
Yes, it's more likely that the Steelers is more favorable that even if they go on a run, they lose 2 more games.
Yeah, that's what
You got to remember, guys, we already got 6 losses. So now when you start doing that record thing, when people say, oh, they could go 10-7. Okay, so y'all saying we only going to lose 1 more time? I think the best case scenario is the Steelers only lose 2 more games out of the 9 that's remaining. So you're talking about going 7-2. Is it possible? Perhaps. But that's when I'm just saying, try to be a little realistic. That's not even going to be easy to do. Because we have a lot of stuff that has to change. It can happen. But the 10-7, don't see that. The 11 and no, not 10-7. Yeah, would be 10-7, right? Yeah, because 17 games now. 11-6. Stop. I don't see any of that. So that's why I'm saying just watch the team, man, and see what they do. If they surprise us or go on this crazy run, or maybe some of the teams in the NFC ain't that good either. Maybe 9 losses get you in there. Who knows?
Yeah. It's a mediocre year. There's really no There's really no I mean, I guess Philly would be the dominant team, but I've seen Philly play a couple of times. I don't think they're dominant. They can be beat. It's just they're streaking right now, and I agree with some. Could they go 7-2? Yeah. I mean, look, they started 2-6 before and went 8-8.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that. I mean, you can kind of see that. I can see that happening. But to answer Tyrone's question, you don't trade somebody at the end of career who might become. I mean, TJ is on the road of being the greatest outside linebacker in Steelers history. He's on that freeway. He's really on that freeway if he keeps doing what he's doing. I mean, really, all he has to do, only thing he has to do, if he wins a Super Bowl and he keeps playing like that, that's gonna be a hard argument because he would, he would have done everything. And I just think that you don't trade somebody like that. It's not a Herschel Walker situation, if you know what I mean. No pun intended. But you don't do that for picks when you already have a commodity that's
you can't trade that.
And he's been hurt once. And if you want to use the hurt analogy, Cam Hayward's been hurt twice in his career. He's missed whole seasons twice in his career. They didn't trade him. So I look at it like you don't trade somebody like that. I mean, I know it's Omar Khan, but I think Omar Khan loves TJ. I think he'd just try to put pieces, just add to what we have. So no. And I mean, we'll just see what happens. We're all looking at the game. We're all looking at these games. And as Sim said, we have the same mindset. We just want progression. I just want progression and consistency. That's all I want. And if you do that, I'm not going to be angry. I'm never going to be angry this year because my expectation was never – it's always Super Bowl. Yep. But I'm a realistic person. So I know that, unless they get super hot and that defense plays lights out and, if you see other teams in our division, trades do help you. Did you guys watch Roquan Smith yesterday?
Oh, man.
I mean, he was blowing up plays.
Yeah, and y'all think we're going to beat that. Don't anticipate beating Baltimore.
He was blowing up plays. So,
they ain't got no receivers, though.
They have no receivers. They have no receivers. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. Which is why I think they can't win a Super Bowl. Because they can't.
Yeah.
You have to be able to hurt somebody on that. I mean, they have the tight end that's kind of like a receiver tight end.
I like that guy. That
the rookie. He's nice. Yeah, but I just think that. But you need a guy. You need some guys that can, But as I said before, I've always said that they do that because I think Lamar's limitations. Mm-hmm. There are things that he hasn't improved on with his throwing. That if he had those dynamic weapons, because if they believed him that much, they would never got rid of Hollywood Brown, who was, if you think about it, was a dynamic receiver who could get open and do stuff like that. So, it's. Look, Cincinnati. Look, everybody's running. What's so ironic is that everybody in the division can run the ball except us.
Yep.
That's the part that hurts you.
Cincinnati that would change this conversation a lot if the Steelers had a run game.
Yep. It's a run game.
All that play action we were seeing in preseason. Just imagine if we was running the football. George Pickens on the fly route on the play action. Lot of this stuff. It's way more to it than just saying it's him, and it's him. It's a collection of things, man. But yeah, I will end it with that, man. You don't trade a generational talent like TJ Watt. You don't do that. You trade guys like Claypool or Deontay. Not a dude who is a bona fide the man on your team. Like, you can't. Who does that? Not at this point of his career. Like, no. Who does that? You can't trade. I mean, it'd be different if we had. Well, I don't want to take away from Highsmith, but it'd be different if we had legit dudes who was putting up numbers opposite TJ consistently, and we could say, all right, you know what? I think we can move one of them now. What you're seeing on film is the reason why you can't trade TJ.
Right, but what you're saying is the exact point. You just made the point. You made a double point. You said if Highsmith, the reason why Highsmith can get off is because you have the other guy on the other side that they can't block.
Yeah.
And if TJ was out there by himself, let's keep it real. If TJ was and Highsmith was hurt, TJ would not be as productive. He'd be disruptive, but he wouldn't be as productive. Like, you need the other person to help you. They're like twins. That's why TJ helped Bud Dupree a lot of times. When Bud they helped each other. You need that guy to do that. And TJ is on the list that's a short list, man. That's Aaron Donald, TJ Watt. That's the list. If you're talking about generational type talents, I mean, if you want to have a discussion, the Steelers should have, as me and Sim always say, man, we shouldn't have let Hargrave go. But that's hindsight. Because Hargrave now, you can't block him. Like he was doing stuff the other day. I was like, oh, you can't block this dude no more. And so that's the dude you wish you still had. But,
And then, what's also funny too, Kenyon, and again, Tyrone, I'm not picking on your comments. I'm just responding to what you're putting out there. Y'all have a habit of doing this too. Because I've been seeing it all season with Jordan Addison. Y'all seem to automatically know this is who we're going to get. Because he said, oh, you replace him with Bama LB. But where's the guarantee that you get this guy?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Right. You need the draft picks. But where's the guarantee that we trade TJ Watt away and we get, that's what I'm saying. It's not, everything is and it's fair. It's a fair point. So don't take this the wrong way, but everything you guys are saying is like speculation. But we could just do that and then get, no. Again, y'all been saying it all season about Jordan Addison. Who says we're going to get him? Where's the guarantee that says they're going to draft this dude? Even if they want him, are they going to be in position to do? You can't predict this stuff. That's why I'm saying you don't just give TJ Watt away for stuff like, no, you can't think in your mind what you would do without having a guarantee. It just, nah, man. I'm sorry.
I ended with this. It's bad. This is how bad. I ended with this. It's like somebody said in the comments, just said, if you draft Will Anderson, what do you do with Heisman? You keep him. You need 3 linebackers. You don't need 2. And here's another thing. All these picks that you're talking about, Jordan Addison, which is so ironic because last year in the draft, the second when Sim and I were on and we were talking, I talked about Jordan Addison. I said, yeah, that's a guy that you can get because I thought they wouldn't re-sign Deontay. That was my theory. That was my thought process. Like they're not going to re-sign Deontay. You can get this kid out of Pitt. They're playing with Kenny Pickett, and then it'll be a great fit. But here's the reality: until you know where you're picking, you can't speculate on who they're going to pick. You can only watch players.
I'm going to give you a round of applause, Andre.
Okay. I just saw it, Sim. I saw it. Aaron Donald's not going nowhere, man. Andre, I'm sorry, man. No. He's locked in.
Again, everyone's opinion is valid.
It's cool.
I don't expect y'all to agree with mine either, so I can talk about yours the same way. It's all love here.
It's all love.
If I recall, because I tend to pay attention, very attentive. I recall Aaron Donald trying to decide whether or not he was going to come back and play.
Yeah.
He contemplated retirement, which means that he's close to doing that, which also means he's over 30. We're going to give 2 first-round picks.
And also, how does that help us? That doesn't fix the offensive line problem. It doesn't fix. We don't have a starting cornerback, a legit lockdown corner. It does not fix any of those problems. The Aaron Donald situation, and first of all, as Sim is right, he did contemplate it, but I know it was for another contract to get more money, which is what the Rams did. They gave him more money, and he signed another contract. He wanted more money. He wanted to be the highest paid player, and he should be. You know what I mean? So he had a legit argument. But throwing these, and I hate to use this term, and Sim knows what I'm going to say. I hate to use this Madden term, this Madden franchise mode, where you can just get whoever you want and put them on your team and make super teams and do all that stuff. It's like, you build your teams through the draft. Trying to trade away for a piece like that would just not be smart for the long-term progress of the team. It doesn't fix our problems. Our problems are fixable on defense, but you need draft picks to fix the offense, the parts of the offense that are leaky, that are really bad, or not good. So Aaron Donald, I mean, the T.J. Watt, the Jordan Addison stuff. Look, I like Jordan. I love Jordan Addison. He's playing for USC. Sim tell you, I love it. I tell Sim all the time. But and is he good? Yes, I think he's a great receiver. But you can always find a wide receiver. Wide receivers in the first round do not guarantee you great things. George Pickens was a second rounder. Antonio Brown was a sixth rounder. You can find those guys. They come out of the draft in waves every year. Yeah. Every year. There's going to be somebody else this year that comes out. I love Jordan Addison. He's going to be one. I love the kid. I like the kid at Tennessee that we talked about earlier. I like him too. There are other people, but it's. I'm not even thinking about wide receiver. Will they draft one? Yes, because the Steelers always do that. They always draft wide receiver and they always get a linebacker. But there are other needs, man. And I just leave it at that. But the speculation of these players is going to come to Pittsburgh. It's like we don't have monopoly money. That's the best way I can look at it. And you just don't build teams like that. And Aaron Donald is happy in LA and he got his money. And if you traded for Aaron Donald, you'd have to cut Cam Hayward. You'd have to cut. You know how many people you have to cut? You have to cut Minka, like just to get him. So
that's what y'all forget. The financials.
You don't look at the financial part. You have to think about
that.
Like I said, it's not Madden. It's not franchise mode. You can't match the contracts up. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Guys, I gotta run. I can't even sit and chop it up with Kenyon afterwards because it's already 9-something. Myself, I need to be in the bed by like 10:30 so I can get up at 5 a.m. to drive to DC. But it's all fun and games. Again, nobody's opinion is, I don't consider dumb, stupid. We all just giving our opinions. But like I said, the reason why I comment sometimes because I'm just a person that tries to use a little bit of logic with anything I do. So sometimes when it just seems completely irrational, I'm just going to be like, that don't make sense. And it's not to poke fun at it. Because again, some of y'all don't agree with my opinion either. That's fine. I don't take it personal. As you all shouldn't either. But some stuff, again, when we're talking about our professional team, we cannot keep making opinions based on our hearts. Think about it from a business standpoint and what the team is likely to do. They're not giving 2 first-round picks for Aaron. I don't care. Aaron Donald's Aaron Donald, but at this stage of his career, who's doing that? What fool is doing that? Like, honestly, I would be looking at Omar Khan like, bro, nah, you ain't do that. Knowing we a team that needs to rebuild, so we go from saying we need a bunch of picks, like my man Tyrone said, let's get a bunch of picks by getting rid of TJ. That's one end of the spectrum. And then you come back and say, well, let's give 2 picks away to get Aaron Donald. No rebuilding team is going to, no. Not for a veteran player. Come on, man.
You don't want us to, so you're saying you don't want us to draft in the first round for the next 2 years. That's basically what you're saying. You don't want us to draft in the first round for the next 2 years. For a 30-year-old Aaron Donald.
There goes your hopes of Bryce Young. Remember, y'all wanted him too. Remember?
there goes your hopes for Caleb Williams. There goes your hopes for everybody. They all gone. So because you wanted Aaron Donald at 30.
Man, look, y'all is crazy.
That's it. Boy. I'm out. We gotta go. We gotta go. Man. No.
All right, man. This has been a great one. I really appreciate when we do these, man. And
this is great.
Listen. Maybe the Steelers go on a mini run and we'll come on and do another one and kind of assess where we are currently. And either way, we're going to come back and do another one of these before the season is over. Because even we're going to be saying, hey, man, they still in the hunt. Or we're going to be saying, all right, this is likely where we're going to finish. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, I got to get out of here. I hate to be so fast and rush everybody, man, but I Gotta go. Other than that, man, I definitely appreciate everybody coming through. What's the other stuff I usually do? Oh, I always tell y'all, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. And outside of that, everybody be safe. God bless. Good night. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll catch you guys the next time. Phone calls will be returning next Tuesday. Y'all be good.